Okay, good afternoon. Going to go ahead and call the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council meeting to order on June 10th at 12:02 p.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Julia Lyons,
Here.
Judge Elaine Smith, Dave Dixon. Here. Mike Markran. Here. Mike Weller's excused. Lorraine Gauger. Doug Morotek.
Here.
Bruce Poquette.
Present.
Katie Bellinger.
I'm here.
Judge Yackel. Mark Helwig. Judge Isham. Marshall Savitsky.
Here.
She's coming. She was finishing a phone call already.
Okay, great.
She said she was coming.
Thank you. So I have Marshall Savitsky here, Kathy McCoy, Bill Trepanier,
Here.
and Amanda Locker is not here, but you do have a quorum.
I kind of feeling that way myself today, so bear with me. Okay, certification of compliance with open meetings law.
This meeting was noticed to the media and public as required by Section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Okay, any changes on the meeting agenda? I have one. We will have the truancy and diversion completed next week for that presentation, or next month, see? Next month, the presentation will happen for truancy and diversion. Sarah was unable to join us today. Anything else on the change for that? Okay, hearing none. Are there any public comments? Okay. And we have a presenter today, Aurora Lee. Did I say it right? Close? Well, come on up. We need you to stand at the podium and speak into the microphone. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and we're happy to have you here.
I'm a little afraid of these things. Is it?
It sounds just fine.
Okay, my name is Oralee Carroll. I work for Northwood Tech, and I come into the jail here and in Washburn County to do HSED and GED testing, any adult basic ed other than that. And I don't know exactly what I was supposed to say. She just said, tell you a little about what I do. I really work hard with inmates on teaching them to set some SMART goals. We work, of course, on the academics. I do refreshers in specific academic areas that they identify, or I might identify when I do their entrance testing. We are a grant-funded program, so there's not a cost to the jail. But I have to have entrance tests, so they get stuck with that. I teach a couple of college classes, writing foundations and math foundations for the trades, that are specifically to prepare students who want to go on and do any of the trade programs that we offer, or to prepare them. A lot of them go to LCO-OU if they can. I teach a financial literacy class that's very popular. I teach an employability skills class. I supervise some online classes in computer programming primarily. I do some driver's license test prep. I do a lot of referrals, or take a lot of referrals from Literacy, Sawyer County Literacy, and I'm on the board for Sawyer County Literacy. So that's a nice seamless thing. I refer students to our WIOA partners, like SEP and Workforce Resource Pathways Home. I do a lot of introducing them to post-secondary options that are available to them. A lot of them are interested in the CDL program or the welding program. And to be frank, I'm always trying to give them some opportunities that will pay them better than dealing drugs, because I really don't want to see them back. I do a lot of letters of completion of classes and that sort of thing to help them out in court. This year, I had about 40 here, total students, which was good. In this jail, I had 18 completed high school equivalency diplomas. I had 20 that successfully completed foundations classes. And because I'm a grant-funded program, I have to prove some gains. So that entrance test that they take, they also take an exit test. And of those 40, 27 of them had at least one level, and that's usually a reading level, gain based on their TABE scores. 4 enrolled in post-secondary education, and 9 gained employment. So those are all the gains that the state wants me to show, with the ultimate goal that we're reducing recidivism. Statewide, the DPI identified that we've reduced it by about 47% in the last 3 years.
This is Becky. I figured she was going to shortchange herself a little bit.
I'm glad you're on, Becky, because I figured you would have more to say.
What she didn't say is, obviously it's voluntary for inmates to meet with her. Once she meets with them, she has to develop a rapport with them, because she might only work with them one time in the jail, but then she always offers follow-up options for when they are released. And Orly and I have talked in the past about, there are some people who are very dedicated and will contact her when they're released, but not everybody is trusted when you meet with them. And she is a person who they really trust and they really depend on for helping them. She also, we don't think of it a lot, but she helps them develop a level of confidence that they might not have, prior. And she really builds them up and shows them what they're capable of, because oftentimes they don't believe in themselves. So that can't be put into words or measured, I don't think.
Thank you, but that's my background. I was a special ed teacher with emotionally disturbed behavior disorder for 27 years at Rice Lake. And before that, I was in the middle school here. That's so long ago, lots of you weren't born.
I just have a question. Are you a one-woman wonder? I mean, all by yourself?
Well,
You're the only really staff,
I'm the only one. I'm in the jail about 10 hours a week.
Wow.
Not during the summer, though, because this year we didn't have enough funding to do this summer. Other summers I have been here. And I got a RELCOR account, so I have a lot of communication. I have a lot of repeaters, good or bad. I don't know. Now Becky made me blush, so there we go.
She also, and Michelle can attest to this because Michelle manages the jail programs, the majority of our professional visitors are volunteers, and we'll talk about that when I present. But Orly is so dependable, rain or shine, when the weather is terrible, when it's blowing and blizzarding in the middle of the winter and it's below 0, she still makes it in, and she comes in sometimes late at night. Her times are a little bit scattered, so that she can be available to inmates, but also because you've also heard me say that we have limited space. So we have to fit her in when we can. And she is always there.
Well, and I have to say that, okay, 'cause I work in 2 jails, and I don't want to trash Washburn County. However, the jailers here are awesome.
Nice.
They take care of me. They tell me if somebody's having a bad day and it's maybe not a good idea to see them. Sometimes they've been talking with the inmates and they say, this one needs to talk to you. they're very supportive. They'll sometimes I get their diplomas. The diplomas are issued by the state. Sometimes I get them when they're still in, and they will get signatures for me. They will pass their diplomas along. They tease me till they're blue in the face. They move me around, and they're so nice to me. And nice to the inmates. It's a very,
That's wonderful to hear.
it's a very, it's professional, but I think that the inmates, and, we have a lot of conversations, feel like at least they are cared for. And that's not always the case. Just my plug for them.
Well, thank you. Good leadership too with that team.
Anything else?
So. Too bad Mike wasn't, or Lieutenant Moore wasn't here. I better be professional. Thank you.
Just one question. So Sawyer County Literacy Council?
Oh, you might need to come back up.
I'm sorry, can you add, that's a new one on me, so could you kind of explain what that is?
Well, I'm not super good at it, but a few years back, several, one of the Northwood Tech instructors was very passionate about the reading levels that we often find in the jail and in the community. We have a really high dropout rate here. And I can say we because I live in Edgewater Township. So she started a program with the state of Wisconsin's Wisconsin Literacy to tutor individuals who really wanted to improve their reading, writing, employability. So we run along the same lines. She has since passed, but she started a little movement. Right now in the community, we're involved in Computers for Learners program. Have you heard of that? Okay, so right now, Wisconsin Literacy gave us, I want to say 35 around their computers, and then United Way has kicked in some computers. And so people who don't have them in their homes are eligible to come and get a computer. I think we have one of those coming up at the library, maybe the end of this month. I do some of them, but I don't do that one. We coordinate with LCOU. And a lot of our clients, of course, come from there. In the jail here, there are 2 volunteers, Holly and Jeff. Holly sees the women, works on what they think they need to work on, quite often employability skills. Jeff works a lot on what the transition pieces when they get out of here. We communicate all the time, so if I'm working on something, somebody's having trouble, say, with fractions, they will pick that up so that they have an extra day of instruction. Because I try to see them all twice a week. I can't always do it. The testing takes a long time. Do you need contact information for that? Oh, okay. I'm sad that it is, but I think they've been shifted around. They used to have their offices when we had the outreach center out by L&M. They were in there and SEP was in there, and we were able to be on site coordinating with one another, and then we got downsized. And right now, I was the outreach center teacher this last year, and I was available only 1 day a week. And I had 9 diplomas out of there. However, they decided we weren't busy enough and closed the outreach center permanently. We do still have an office in that new cottages? Is that the name of that? That new building center out by where the trails come together in South Hospital?
So in the community building, is that where it's at? Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have a little office just as you come in the door on the left. I'm working on some things with the high school and with some other community members to try to do boot camps, which we do like 2 weeks that are diploma programs. We have to wait until we see what the funding looks like. But they're free and they're open to anyone. And we do, I do have some high school students off and on, and they will also be eligible for that. So I'm hoping that that comes through. Several people, when they leave the jail, if they haven't finished, would come out there and finish there.
That's great to know. And the boot camps are important. I have YJ representation in here and trying to, with those boot camps can be huge for those that were really struggling to get them through. And if that's what it takes to get their diploma, wonderful.
It is wonderful, and Erin Davis is out at LCOU in the same position, and we taught together in Rice Lake, so it's been a real easy transition for us to be able to send people back and forth
Great.
to wherever we can get transportation. That's always a big one.
Okay, wonderful.
Anything else?
Anybody? Well, thank you for everything you do. We appreciate it.
Well, it's fun.
Okay, moving on to the consideration for the minutes from the May 13th meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve them.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Moving on to the executive committee, we did meet on May 26th. We can't have met on June 26th. We met on May 26th. We are working on updating the bylaws. We have the bylaws in there for reference as to where they're at right now. We'll be able to probably, I'm guessing it's going to be another 2 months before we have bylaws that are up and ready for everybody to review and see what you think about them and potentially approve our new bylaws. We did discuss, and I had done this at a previous meeting, but not everybody was here, on wanting to know what your top 3 priorities are for the CJCC. So if you did not fill these out, I just quickly tore off some sheets because I forgot them. But if we can pass down, if you did not get a chance to give me your top 3, if you can just put your top 3 priorities for the CJCC, I'm going to pass to you. You probably did, but if, I don't know who else. I don't know. I'll show you, you'll see if your handwriting, you can recognize handwriting. If we can get that done, that'll just help us. I know some people had emailed me and I have things. So Katie, I got yours. But yeah. So any questions or anything that you want us to be considering as we go into our next executive committee meeting? Okay. Okay, hearing none, then we will go on to the jail report, which is there. And okay,
So for the report for May 2026, the average daily population total was 51, 10 of which being female, 41 being male. The average probation incarceration was 28. Average pre-sentence incarceration was 15. Average sentence incarceration was 8. There was 0 electronic monitoring. Total population was 52, and unemployment rate at the time of booking was 62%.
does anybody have any questions on the jail report?
The one thing I want to add, and we've talked about
sorry.
this before, but as we see the jail population continue to decline, we're also seeing the unemployment rate decline. And I think there's always a huge correlation with those 2 numbers. And that's where our programming comes into play big time. If we can keep community members educated, employed, they're bound to have a better success.
So I guess my question would be, or something for us to think about, is we are seeing, obviously, all the work that's being done with them getting their HSED or diploma and training. Are we having troubles having people get hired who have a history? And is that something that we need some community development on in order to increase that employment? Or are our community members, businesses hiring people? I guess I have no idea if that then becomes a struggle.
We've always had quite a few businesses reach out to us, and when we had the Huber program, that was more involved. A lot of our businesses are pretty open to it and supportive of it and hire. I have not heard of much for businesses concerned on their history. Most of our businesses, you're dealing with two issues. One, they're supportive of people doing the right thing. And the second thing is everybody's hurting for staff to hire. So I
that
think
could be
between those
helpful.
two things that they're willing to, give them that second or third chance.
That's good to know. So that doesn't really have to be kind of as you think of the CJCC, that could be a priority that we would take on if that was an issue, but that's good to know.
I mean, I kind of just see it in patterns, and I'm sure you do too. It just seems like in the summer, it's a lot easier. A lot easier. People, are desperate looking for employees, so it's really helpful. But then, during those winter months, you start to see that employment rate drop off, and you start to see, a lot of the, that's just the nature of our area, but a lot of the jobs in this area that are seasonal jobs are those jobs that don't care about your history or record or whatever the case may be. So it is harder to, I would say, find those types of jobs maybe in the winter, but also that is kind of just the nature of our area, and that's the same with people who have a history and people who don't.
Right. And maybe that's an area of focus of just keeping them busy
Yeah.
when employment stops and then there's not as much to do, laid off or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And what are those other things?
Well, I was just going to say too, that this was like the last number to move. And so that's really good to see because we were at like 90-some% and everything else has declined. Our jail rates have declined, everything has declined. This has been like the last number that is finally starting to decline. So that to me is a real positive thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think there are some organizations that we could try to partner with. I talked to somebody from the Builders Association the other day, and they were like, yeah, we used to kind of do a lot of stuff, and now we don't really have those connections or whatever anymore to try to get people. And so I do think, yes, there are employers during the summer, but I think there are other employment organizations that we probably could kind of reach out to more, like the Builders Association, that would be willing to try to get some of these people in. And I think those would be on a more permanent basis too, because those are jobs, yeah, they need extra people in the summertime, but they're building year-round, right,
year-round,
long-term, right?
yeah.
And so I do think there is some opportunity to try to expand in that direction a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's definitely, a correlation. I can even see it in, recovery court. When people are employed and they have their hands busy, they're doing much better just overall. When they're not employed and it seems like they're kind of floundering more. So it's like that structure is helpful. I think that it makes a lot of sense to see if we can't reach out and maybe find a resource or because I get asked that sometimes too, especially from recovery court participants, do you know who's hiring or who would hire, type of a question. Be a great thing if I had an answer, but I usually, kind of defer to the resources people, ask them, talk to the case managers, they probably know kind of a thing. I don't know.
Builders Association, a couple contacts there and kind of reach out, because I kind of planted it. They were like, yeah, we should get back involved. So, just thinking about organizations like that maybe we could go
How we
to
coordinate
and just kind of give a little nudge, like, hey,
Yeah.
we got a lot of people that are trained and, like,
It's a good idea.
Well, I think the added thing too with the builders is they could start off as a laborer and advance into a tradesman, so it gives them a lot of opportunity to grow.
That's big too. And I feel like that's a big deal to people. They don't want to be stuck, nobody wants to be stuck in it. So,
Yeah, and there is a huge demand. You look at like Rasmussen's and you look at some of these companies that are just, they are hiring apprentice all the time. They're looking for people. So I think there are, outside of just the tourism thing, I think there is a real need for those trades. And I think we can maybe try to hook up or push, just.
yeah. And
put it
that's
out-
always
Put it out
something.
there, hey, give it,
It's always a topic at the university too, and it is, how can we bring this type of education into our area too, to be able to push people towards those paths? And so it's a big topic, I think. You've got a good point, for sure.
I wanted to ask, now refresh my memory here. When did Huber change?
What happened with Huber, we still have what's basically considered the Huber program, but we've transitioned it into releasing them from the jail and putting them on electronic monitoring. So when they have Huber privileges, the privileges are the same, but the way we deal with it within the jail and the release has changed, putting them on electronic monitoring. They meet the criteria and go through that change.
So how many is on electronic monitoring?
Right now, we have none.
Oh, you don't have any?
No?
Typically, though, if I recall, this is very unusual to not
It
have
is odd,
somebody
yeah.
on.
This is, but as you see the jail numbers
Yeah,
go
so
down,
it's less,
that number is
yeah,
gonna go down
too,
as well. And what you need to understand too is they have to be willing to pursue it.
Yeah.
And to pursue it, they have to, follow the
Right, you
structure of
Gotta
how
have
that works.
employment, you've
Yeah.
gotta have somebody who will supervise, there's a whole list.
There's a list of criteria they have to meet and be willing to maintain it.
Yeah.
And that oftentimes is the shortfall where the inmates don't want to follow that, so therefore they're not interested in it.
Because I'm really interested in what you're saying, connecting more with those businesses that will employ them. Some are felony friendly, so to speak, but some will need their work. And, but to train them, give them the opportunity. And so while we keep looking at those ways of exploring at the universities, looking at the programming and I'm sure the different, departments are too, and because that's our goal.
Yeah.
For them to be able to work again, be healthy and make better choices, better lives, all that. So I was just curious, because I did talk to some people recently, and they weren't hired for those reasons. Because they had a record, something happened, they couldn't get out, some on probation, some whatever, what had happened. However, they were looking for work. I can't, the doors are closing. So when you hear those things, we just gotta keep that in mind that we have work to do, just keep going things, because our goal is to help them to turn that around, but they have to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but providing it helps. So, all right. Thank
Yeah, if we can learn about some of the places where the doors are closing, I think that is an opportunity just for education potentially.
Yeah, that's true too. If we know where is not going to, accept people, we can always be like, avoid, just, that's a no-go.
Avoid or educate.
Yeah.
Or let them know different mechanisms, because sometimes it's just, I can't risk a failure, I've got to have that person in there. But if there's additional support that we can give them to be able to help them in that job support later, and I know, Becky, that's one of the things, as we work on those transition plans, that's being able to give them that support post-release.
Yes, post-release. And there are a lot of things that are done behind the scenes when they're currently incarcerated that unfortunately everybody doesn't see. And we'd like to keep those updates. That's why I try to, mention like all of the different jail programs. If you look at the jail programs that are listed, a lot of them are employment-based. But even beyond that, like you said, just working with them while they're incarcerated on different things and building up their confidence and doing other things all come into play with those employment options.
And we've been very open and tried thinking outside the box, and under certain circumstances, we've even, allowed it to be where they volunteered, but had to meet that criteria of maintaining that volunteerism to meet it as well. So we have had some latitude there and done our best to try to work with them.
Yep. Well, and that volunteerism can show consistency and look good when looking for a job, so. Anything else with the jail report? Otherwise, we'll move on to Justice Point.
I just wanted to chime in on, it's not
Okay,
obviously.
sorry.
Yeah, I had my hand up, but I thought.
Oh,
you're
we
not
couldn't
looking up
see you.
here.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just kind of wanted to chime in. Obviously, it's, after the fact when they're released from jail, but we had a vacancy in our region for the department for quite a while. And it just got filled, and it actually is, their title is Employment Program Coordinator. And so obviously they work for the Department of Corrections. He is, his home base is in Wausau, but there's been individuals in this role before, but I guess I'm just very impressed with, so every Thursday, I receive what's called, what does he call it? I'm looking here. Job leads. And he sends me, and now looking at them, some of them I don't know per se would be forgiving or felony friendly, but they're on here. It has job fairs. Some of them are, counties surrounding, but depending on vehicles. He has hiring events at different places on this. So every Thursday I've been sending it to my agents and then printing out copies of it and putting it in our lobby for clients to take. He also does meet, he actually has had so many referrals from my office that he has scheduled once a month to actually come to Hayward and have an office day here. And so on the outside, if they are, involved with the Department of Corrections, those are services that I just wanted to make everyone aware that we are doing on our end to offer employment. And I feel at this time, there is a lot of, we also have people, you had mentioned different workforces. We have people that call and say, hey, I got this going on. Do you have anybody, different businesses or different people that will offer, sometimes it's snow removal. I've had people call me and just say, hey, could you have somebody who needs some work? And so I do think that some community members do know on our end, with Department of Corrections, that we can send individuals and that they are letting us know if there's anything. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that we do have that program, and that is something that is kind of new and exciting to us and our clients.
Oh, that's great news, Katie. Thank you for sharing.
Can I get that gentleman's name?
Yeah, it's Ben. I don't know if he goes by Benjamin or Ben. Let me check how he signs his email. It looks like Ben Natzke, Natzke.
Does he have contact with the tribe too? Do you know?
I'm not 100%. I know that when I met with him, we had talked about like different events. I'm not sure if he has.
Then the third question is, if somebody's on probation, they have a PO or whatever.
Yeah.
Piece there, do they get that information? Like, because some of them who are on probation are looking for work, and they're having a hard time, some of them. So I'm just curious how we can connect everything.
Yeah, so since he started, which was just a few months ago, he has come to my office and talked to my staff, and that was just probably a month or two ago, and he has, I believe, 13 clients now out of our office, and I think he had told me, like, he covers region-wide, that his whole clientele right now is at about I think 40 and he has 13 or 14. I'd have to look at what the criteria is, but I don't think there is much of one, because I know, like, we have individuals that aren't allowed to use internet for restrictions because of their offenses. And I know that he is able to assist with those because obviously they can't go on Indeed, right? Or an online. And so I know he's able to kind of assist where there's some of those barriers in place that maybe applying for the job would be a rule violation because he can't be on the internet, right? And so I know he's helped with that. If somebody is on supervision and they are looking for employment, an agent should be referring. If I'd have to look at what the criteria is, but I do know that my staff is. Is that answering your question?
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else for Katie? Nobody else is on? Okay, let's then go to Justice Point. Becky?
Okay, so for the month of May, pre-trial, we had 114 active participants, 14 referrals, 13 successful completions, 2 unsuccessful completions. Diversion, 10 active, 10 pending referrals, 2 successful completions. That one's a big one because their charges get dismissed at the end of completion, and then I believe it's 2 years that it comes off of CCAP. Treatment court, 4 active, 1 pending referral, 0 successful, 1 unsuccessful. Any questions on the stats? Okay.
I'm not seeing any, Becky.
Okay. So where we are at with deflection, I had mentioned last month that we were not granted the reentry grant, but we are still pursuing other funding opportunities. Last week, Lieutenant Ripsinski and Sergeant Culhane and I went to a deflection training in Rhinelander and talked with Brad Kelly. Brad is the program specialist for DOJ, and he's basically a grants administrator. And he told me specifically that there are opportunities for us to pursue with where we are at with everything. So Brad and I will be meeting to look at those. We also received a donation from First Lutheran Church in the amount of $200 to support our community events, which is huge. It's like all of those community supports that come into place just show how much coordination and collaboration there is within our community. So thank you very much to Kathy McCoy for setting us up with that opportunity to present at First Lutheran and open some doors. I also was invited to present at from that connection at PEO this fall, so I will be presenting there and looking for some possible funding opportunities. Within deflection, a huge part of what we're doing is community outreach, and that's very much where, like DOJ, although our previous deflection funding was through DHS, I foresee possible opportunities through DOJ. And they really want that community outreach portion, and we're doing really well in that. So on that note, we have our ongoing ones, which I've mentioned in the past. We have Bingo, we have Snap Fitness, but we do have the Adopt a Highway coming up next week. So that's going to be 9:00. And if anybody's interested in participating, they can meet us between Rainbow Road and Herman Road off of 27. The other thing is that we are doing, and this isn't necessarily part of deflection, but we have a professional visitors lunch tomorrow, and you should have that flyer in your packet as well. Our professional visitors go above and beyond in so many different capacities, and I really want everybody to be as involved as they possibly can be. I know that for that we manage it, but it affects so many other people. And so we're doing a first annual lunch tomorrow at Shoes Pond from 1 to 4. I also need to say, all of the food is provided by Justice Point employees. We did not use any of our program funding for that. So that just goes to show the level of dedication that our team has. And I'd like to really give them snaps for that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to come, I encourage you to stop by. Like I said, Shoes Pond between 1 and 4, bring your own chair. Food will be provided, drinks will be provided, but we don't have chairs. Other than there are some picnic tables, but I think those are probably going to be used for our food. Any questions on deflection?
Do you have continued contact with Jennifer Cadat, with what's happening?
No. She reached out to me in the past to share some events with her, which we did. But other than that, no, we haven't had ongoing communication with her.
It would be good to keep that flowing, because I think it would help get the word out.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll keep that in mind. Michelle is there, so Michelle can help me with that too. Okay, so TAD 2027, that application was opened in May. We've been working on it. It'll be due in July. In fact, I have a meeting this afternoon to meet with my administrative staff. In the past, I've always written the grants all on my own, and due to a little bit of a step back in time, I now have some support. So our administrative office is helping me with that, which is helpful. I like that. And always, more than one set of eyes is best. So that'll be good. I also do need to update last month when I asked you to sign the letter, and there is not an amount stated in the letter, but we're changing the amounts. We thought that we could apply for less diversion funding to apply for more treatment court funding, and we have that option, but in going through our budget, we can't sustain that. So we are going to apply for the max amount of both. Is there any questions about that?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. Say something real
Oh,
quick.
yep, Lorraine.
Becky, our whole goal was for people to get help and get healthy. So it's good to see that happening. And so the treatment funding, whatever things we have, really will help. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because it's important that the community knows that.
It is. And I think this happens with every department, but there's so much that goes on with each individual, with each case plan, with each set of circumstances that they're working on. And people don't know the levels of what our case managers do with our clients. So, and like I said, I think that goes on in every department, right? There's so many different parts of other people's jobs that we don't know about, but our case managers really do go above and beyond. There are some participants, of course, who don't want to be a part of programming, and we work with that as well. But there are a lot that reach back out even after they've completed whatever they're working on and let us know that they appreciate the support they received, which is nice. Okay, so having said that, All Rise is coming up in July, and Julia had put out an application, I guess, for lack of a better word, to help pay for training. There were originally 9 people who reached out and expressed interest. I believe we have 5 attending. That's correct, Julia?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So we have 5 recovery court team members who will be attending All Rise in Nashville in July. I would like to see as many of our treatment court members attend, as many trainings. Unfortunately, we don't always have the funding. So I am glad that there's 5 that are going, and that'll, I think, be helpful with team networking, team collaboration, everybody being on the same page as far as what our funding guidelines require or what our goals and objectives are to work toward together when they're working with individuals. Any questions on that? Okay. So then I already gave my plug about the visitor lunch. Again, it's tomorrow, Shoes Pond 1 to 4. And it would really, I think, show a lot. We're hoping that jail staff is able to attend, or at least we'll bring them food to show our appreciation to them too, because they do a lot behind the scenes that people don't see, just like Aurelie said. But anybody who's interested, it would be nice to see some other faces there to show support for what they do. And with that, I'm done, unless anybody has any questions.
Nice report, Becky. Does anybody else have any questions for Becky? Okay, hearing none. Health and Human Services. The standard reports are in there. I don't really have anything over and above this month to be able to report, except for that Kim Lambert, sitting in the back corner, is a YJ representative and works very closely with our kids. So nice to see you here today. We're ready to start connecting on CCS and recovery courts, so that is all up and running, and kind of making some inroads there. And I guess the only other thing that wasn't on the reports is that we've really been working closely with between public health, jail, Justice Point, and we'll be bringing in some mental health and also the jail nursing to be able to really solidify what a wraparound MAT SUD program would look like in the jail. We're making some inroads. We've gotten to a certain level, but we want to make sure that there's true wraparound services there. So looking how we're able to support that. Have met, Jess Bjork has engaged us with many other counties to see how they're managing things. We do have a special program really with the LCO, the health center, with the MOU we have there. It's a very good MOU to be able to support it. But we are missing kind of the wraparound piece of it. So want to extend that. So hopefully we'll be able to have a full report in a month or two to kind of let you know, here's where we're at. We had started this work back with building bridges, and we're kind of using that same foundation and are bringing that back forward. So just want to let you know that hasn't dropped. We will be bringing that information forward. That's it that I have for the Health and Human Services report.
Just wanted to quickly, on the youth justice, because Kim doesn't want to give a speech. I can't thank them enough for all of the work that they're doing. It has really, truly shown it's working wonders with our kids in the community. We had truancy court last week, the week before that, to end the school year. We'd given a lot of, kids these opportunities to, improve over the school year. And then by the end of the year, see how they were doing. And we dismissed most of those cases because they were all doing so well. So it is helping. And you guys should be very proud of your work. It's working.
Nice. Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
It's definitely a team effort, and I see it happening. I saw it happen this week. So last week, no, that was last week already. They really pull together as a team. Crisis happens, the team gets together. They all take their expertise. They go, they get things pulled together, and yeah, the team is really functioning at a high level right now.
I'd also like to say something.
Okay, I will close my microphone off.
I just wanted to add that I'm seeing that in tribal court too. The kids are responding, and we've also dismissed several cases because the kids are going to after-school tutoring, and they're passing their classes, and then the ones that are going to summer school, I explained, this is not a punishment. I'm trying to help you. You'll get that one-on-one, and they're going. So it's really amazing how certain people have turned around. And I was at the high school graduation, and it was as you probably saw in the paper, the largest number of graduates that LCO school has had, so that's amazing. So I'm all proud of our kids and families.
I just want to jump in too, Kim. I was hoping you would have gave a report and update. But it's important that we acknowledge that. It is. Especially when those who are at risk, that they end up finishing and graduating. That was our goal. So, and there was, when we had the Eagle Feather ceremony honoring all the Native graduates, we had over 80 students that were honored, both the public, tribal, and our surrounding areas, the members that could make it home, that we were acknowledged. So over 80, that was the biggest one also. And so kudos to all those involved and all the work that's being done.
Community, I'm jumping on. Community, anything, any updates? I'm looking at you. What's happening with your programming? And does anybody else have any community updates? Kathy might have some too. You're busy though this summer, aren't you? Yeah, you guys are moving.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now.
Yeah. Is your microphone on? We can hear you, but they can't necessarily hear you. Push the.
Yelling.
It's only for the Zoom thing. We can hear you, but
How's that?
there.
Timber Bay is going well. We have a lot of volunteers that have come to help. Some amazing volunteers that are super thankful for. We are meeting all summer, which is an oddity, I guess, but we're meeting tonight. We meet every Wednesday, and we have a lot of outdoor activities planned for the kids. Biking, we were gonna go biking tonight, but we punted that because of the storm coming. And last week we had people come in and we built pizzas and stuff like that. We're averaging 9-10 kids on a Wednesday night now, which was kind of our goal before the end. We have 17 kids and 17 or 18 now that are involved at some level or not type of thing, such as the nature of a lot of our kids. Yeah, I'll be there, and then you see them 2 weeks later. But we have 2 canoe trips planned for the summer for the kids. We just came back yesterday Monday, we went on a training thing with all of our leaders and taught them up in the Boundary Waters. It was a tough time, but we went.
You look like you've been getting some sun.
We have a boys trip that's almost full already of 9 boys, 9 people going on that trip in July, and then we have a girls one going in August. We also are planning a trip to the Sea Caves up in Lake Superior in September. And I just would like to tell you that our community has really stepped up. They have funded us. We don't charge the kids. Obviously if they can pay, they pay, but if they can't, we don't charge the kids to go do things, and we pick up the tab on everything. And I should say our community does, our businesses do, our churches do. Individuals fund us. Yeah, I'm super happy where we're at and what's going on. If I would have sat down a year ago, Kim and I talked a little bit about this. If I would have sat down and drawn out where I wanted to be at this time, it'd be like, oh yeah, that's where we're at. So.
Great.
Super exciting. I think we're making a difference. We're making connections, and our hope is, and I'm a believer in a Jesus follower, and we are a ministry, and we are faith-based, but there's a unique story that I just like to share with you about John the Baptist was kind of a forerunner before Jesus came, and before Jesus was even on the scene. John the Baptist had a bunch of disciples that followed him, much like what happens later when they followed Jesus. And so they trusted John because they had a relationship with him and had developed that through all the time and everything else. And when it came time when Jesus did come, John the Baptist pointed at Jesus and said, "That's who you should follow rather than me." And they left him and went and followed Jesus. And that's kind of our model a little bit. When we have at-risk kids that don't trust adults and don't trust the system and everything else, then they come to us. We develop trust with them so that we can, at some point, have a relationship with them enough that they trust us and we say, "This is how you should be," or "This is what you should do." And they're like, "Oh, well, you took me across the lake in a canoe and I've never been in it before. And I trusted you," and it had scared out of my mind, but they trusted you. So we do that through outdoor activities. We develop the trust with the kids through doing that. Or we put them on a rope and let them climb up a thing and we hang on to them. They're like, "I got you, I got you, I got you." I mean, and we just develop trust with those kids so that then when we say, "Hey, this is how you should be." "Well, you've never told me wrong before. Maybe this is how I should be." And they take that. So that's kind of just in a nutshell. And we're starting, we have enough volunteers where we have, each kid has pretty much their own mentor that they spend time with and do things with, the one-to-one. We're getting a little bit away from that as we grow, but we're trusting that more volunteers will come. So that's where we're at. And we're open for business and open for more people if you want to send them our way.
I got a few.
Yeah. All right. Just, we have a lot of people, and if you're invited, we always meet at the house here at 4, right across the street. And if you want to come see what we're doing or whatever, and then we go someplace and do something, come back and we end here and stuff. But, yeah. So I think we're making a difference, so.
I was gonna say, it's really nice to hear that you're doing summer programming too, and I just will give a plug for the library, which I always do, but their summer reading program is just going great guns again this year. And it's so important to have those community services in the summertime, because when kids are out of school, they need a place to go, they need a connection, they need programs. I'll bring next month, I should have brought along all the programming that's going on over there during the summer months. It's incredible for youth and also for adults too. I mean, so it's a big community center that you really need to fill the gap, just like you guys. So I'm glad you're going during the summertime, yeah.
To ask you the ages.
Ages?
Yep.
Going into 6th grade and going out of high school. We have one we'll lose at the end of the summer. We keep them, she got her GED, 18 years old, and we're keeping her until the end of the summer is kind of the way we roll, but then we gotta let her go. But hopefully bring her on maybe as a mentor or something and continue. The other cool thing about it is it kind of works like the House of Hope works, where I've mentored 6 guys through the House of Hope, and all those guys are still in my life, and I still help them and still see them and work with them. So as a kid graduates or leaves Timber Bay, we still stay connected with them, but they just can't come to group stuff with the minors, with the kids that are under 18 type of thing, just for life, it's just not right. And that's a policy for Timber Bay. Like on a Wednesday, they can't come unless we get them to be a volunteer and go through the process of all that and the application and the references and all that and everything. And then they become full-fledged volunteers. Then they can come when they're 18 to help with the group and mentor other kids. So,
And where'd you say the meeting spot was?
right across the street.
In that
Right
House of
next to
Hope?
the House of Hope.
Right next to the House of Hope?
Yeah, right next to the House of Hope,
that's right.
Timber Bay. We have had a really good success rate as far as if we have a kid show up. We've had maybe 2 or 3 that have been there once or twice and said, "I don't want to do this," and haven't come back. But the vast majority of our kids come, they stick, which gives us encouragement that we're doing the right thing. And it isn't, and I've worked with kids for 40 years, literally, more than that probably, but.
Look at me when you said that.
Yeah. Some work out, some don't, but, And people say kids have changed, they haven't changed, kids haven't changed one bit. They just want somebody to listen to them, somebody that, and they love to connect with people that care about them. And that's, I'm looking for volunteers, and I said, what do you want to come for? I just want to connect with kids, I want to be there and help them and stuff. And that's how they're really looking for, really it is. If they have somebody they can connect with and they can develop trust with, it's amazing. We have kids that come in there and the first time, and I said, we don't have any rules, basically. We don't have any rules. But, because I don't believe in rules. I just say, hey, is that helping the group? No. Well, okay, let's not do that. Is that affecting somebody else? Yeah. Well, let's not do that then. But they like those little, you just create those boundaries. And we have kids that come the first time that are pretty bad. And then as they come to the group, you can see them, I want to be a part of the group. And then you can say, hey, if you're going to continue to come, you need to, stop saying stupid things to some people here and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so more the merrier. I think we're looking probably by the end of, at this time next year, of moving out of that house. And that just would be our meeting area because we'll be too big, we're hoping. So a whole new set of problems arise. So.
Celebrate the Library is on Saturday from 9 until 2, and there'll be a little race, watermelon eating contest, free food, garage sale, games, just kind of, great thing for families. I mean, if you got a family up, or people love to bring their grandkids or whatever, but just kind of a fun day, and hopefully it won't pour rain.
And just be cool enough so everybody can get out there and enjoy. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. Okay, wonderful community update. So you didn't think you had anything to share, and you guys had plenty to share. Any outside committee updates? I don't think we really have a whole lot. Most of the outside committee is already represented, I think, within the agenda. Any reports from conferences and meetings? I guess those will be coming up after All Rise. Future agenda items, we will be going back and we will have that diversion. It's kind of a year look back on us starting the truancy program and where that is. Otherwise, any other things for the July 8th meeting? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 1:05. Thank you.